One on here, and I'm coming to you with this month's video. Just those few little insights to help keep us going along the way. And these insights, a lot of what I draw on is what our current influences are. So I pull from my book, The Code Journey, and look at what the core aspects are, what the core influences are, some of the key points that are coming up, looking at what people are dealing with in the world, the feedback I'm getting from people, and where they're at. So this month I wanted to address things about discernment, because discernment is so important, and it's going to get really, really important as we go into February in particular. And with this, discernment is one of those things that we don't even realize sometimes how much power it gives us to have discernment. We have two key concepts that are coming up in January that are really important to look at, and that is the assassination energy, and that is discernment. And it's very interesting how they play off of each other, because assassination energy is based off of lies, deception, and manipulation. And a lot of times when we think about that, we think, oh, it is somebody that is trying to get rid of somebody. It is somebody that is, up to no good. And really, in many ways it is, but it's also very much a very self-defensive aspect that comes up. It's a pattern that shows up when people who are working out of integrity are losing ground or losing their sense of power, and there are successes being made for those that are working in divine presence. And that assassination energy can show up in a lot of different ways. It can show up through verbal attacks, emotional attacks, physical abuse. It can show up in literal assassination attempts. So there's all different levels of that assassination pattern that can show itself. But a lot of it is, again, based on this lies, these deceptions, the manipulation, the being willing to tell people anything in order to get what they want. So it's really a pattern that we see in a lot of psychopaths. They use this technique, this assassination technique, but it also is a great opportunity for us to realize, hey, we are right over the mark on something. We are doing something. So if you're making this progression, you realize it. And I actually talked about this a couple of months back in my videos. It was the one that I released in October. And so you might even want to go back and look at that as well in that sense. Now, one of the things about assassination energy is it tries to make aspects like having clarity or discernment a bad thing. It tries to make that out as evil, like you shouldn't be thinking for yourself, you shouldn't be, questioning things, that sort of aspect. And discernment is such a powerful tool. Discernment actually gives us the ability to stand on our own. It gives us the ability to free ourselves from those who want to seek power and control over us. So it can be a really powerful aspect, and I'm not sure what's coming through right now on this lens. Give me a second here. See if we can clean that up a little. Okay. And so with that discernment is really this aspect. When we're using discernment, we're going into our heart. We're finding the stillness within us so that we're not being pulled and swayed by those people who are trying to take control over us, or trying to dominate us in our life. And this happens, and we see it in the world, we see it in our personal lives, we see it in all different ways and forms. And what it does is it allows us to stand strong in the soul self, which once we do that in confusing situations, then we start to generate our own luck. We start to learn how to trust ourselves, and we rest into the journey of what's happening. Now, we have a lot coming up in February where things are going to get even way more confusing than they have been. We're going to get to a point where it's going to be very, very hard to tell who is on what side and who isn't. And one of the things I really use with discernment is when you're looking at things and you're trying to figure out, who is on the right side and who isn't. I have a couple of basics here, and one of those basics is that you want to take a look and see if you can apply the same rule to both sides. You know, we all have our favorite sides. We all have those people that we think are right. And then we have those people that we think are wrong. And if you're going to apply one set of rules to the people you think are wrong, you need to be able to apply the same set of rules to the people that you think are right. And that is very, very important, because if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to be sitting in discernment. And that means you're not looking at things from a very objective point of view. And once that happens, you're going to be able to get caught up in the reactions of things that are happening. You're going to be caught up in not responding or not thinking very clearly on things. So it's going to create a lot of confusion in things. Now, another piece of discernment that I like to really take a look at is, how much is somebody trying to prove to me that they're right? Because usually the more that somebody has to prove to me that they are right about something, then the greater chance it is that they're wrong. The greater chance it is that they're telling me some sort of lie, manipulation, distortion, or something else in there. And then the third key piece that I look at with discernment is, are they trying to push me into urgency? Are they trying to get me to act impulsively and in this reactive manner? And if they are, then I know that they are working under assassination patterns. Because what is true, what is real, it doesn't have to be proved. You can see it, you can know it. It doesn't have to prove itself. It doesn't have to tell you it is real, because you know it is real. It's one of those things that it doesn't require you, it doesn't push you into something, it gives you the time to think about it. So those are some really key things to consider. Now, what's very interesting is when assassination energy and discernment energy interact in codes, we then find this rebel energy that comes up. So it really is, because the assassination energy in the first place is all about rebel energy, and in one hand, because it's all about this reaction. It's all about, hey, you're taking my power away from me, and I don't like that I can't keep operating in this corrupt, unethical way, lacking integrity. And so that's where the rebellion comes on one side. On the other side, you get those that are pushing forward for divine presence in the world, and they're getting poked and they're getting prodded and they're getting, picked at and picked at and picked at, and until they hit their breaking point. And so what we really want to do is we want to make sure that with this assassination energy, it's always trying to break down our discernment. So you want to stay on top of that. Assassination energy wants to confuse you. It wants to create the chaos so that you can't think clearly, and then you go into reaction, and then you're out of that divine connection. But when you apply discernment to assassination energy, you then have the ability to transform the situation. So you transform it from a situation where people are trying to break you down, to destroy you, to tear you down because they don't like that you stood in your soul self, for example, or that you stood by divine principles. And so they go on that attack with it. And so when the discernment becomes applied to the assassination energy, it actually basically kills the assassination energy. So that's a really cool tool in my book to know about, to realize that all we have to do is rest into that discernment, rest into reclaiming our own power, rest into realizing that we don't have to do things just because somebody else says them, and that we do have the ability to stand on our own. And the more that we do that and we find appropriate ways to respond to the attacks that are made on us, then the more we kill out that assassination energy, the more we take it and transform it into a major transformation that propels us forward. So there you go. It's kind of a big thing to look at. But hey, give me your comments about this. What are your thoughts about it? What are your, opinions about it. And, you know, if you like what I had to say here, give the video a like. Hop on over to my website, compassioncodes.com. Look under the goods tab. You'll find the code journey. That's where you can pick up the book. And it is full of amazing insights, personal journey work, things to work on all throughout the year. It doesn't take a massive amount of time, but it will transform your life. It is an amazing piece that is just like having those answers right at your hands whenever you need them. And it doesn't tell you exactly what to do, but it invites you to be active in your own process. Take care, everybody, and I will see you next month.